going to take you on a journey through the Holy Scriptures as we examine and evaluate the words of the true and living Elohim, the words of the Most High. The Creator said he comes in the volume of the book. Lo, it is written of him. The whole book is written of him. So if you want to learn about him, you're going to have to acquaint and familiarize yourself with the whole book. And you're going to have to eat the whole loaf. And a lot of you think that a little piece of bread that you got is suffice. But the Creator said that in the last days, knowledge shall be increased. And they that know him shall shine as the stars in heaven. And some of us are shining, and nobody's able to put out the light. The Creator said that light, he said the people that walked in darkness have seen the great light, and they that dwell in the valley of the shadow of death, upon them has the light shined. That light has shined on us the other day. And we're going to let it try to shine on you, even though you keep your umbrellas up. We're going to try to let it shine on you. Let's open up our scriptures to the book of Numbers, the 10th chapter. And as we study, it's going to be according to the Creator's method that he has ordained in the book of Isaiah 28:9. Let's doctrine upon doctrine, line upon line, here a little and there a little. We're going to go line upon line. We found in the book of Numbers, the 10th chapter, the 10th verse, that it said,
also in the day of your gladness.
Also in the day of your gladness.
And in your solemn days.
And means in addition to the days of your gladness. And in your solemn days.
And in the beginnings of your months.
And in the beginning of your months.
Ye shall blow with the trumpets over your burnt offerings.
Ye shall blow with the trumpets over your burnt offerings.
And over the sacrifices.
And over the sacrifices
of your peace offerings.
Of your peace offerings.
That they may be to you.
That they may be to you.
For a memorial.
Something that we are always to remember. It is to be unto you as a memorial.
Before your Elohim.
Before your Elohim. We want to always let him know that we're conscious. And we remember all the good things that he has given us. In the day of your gladness, that you're being glad, your solemn feast. And in the beginning of your months. Hold that page for a moment and go with me to the book of Deuteronomy 26. And this message is not only for you, this message is for the world, because the Creator says, through Israel shall he be glorified. So if we are not glorifying his new moons, if we are not teaching about the significance of his new moons, if we are not telling our people how important these new moons are, then who's going to exalt the Almighty? Who's going to magnify him? And who's going to glorify him? Nobody. Nobody's keeping it, and they're all glad, so they don't have to talk about it, because they claim they don't have no knowledge about it. But the knowledge of Yah is full and complete. Notice what it says in the 26th chapter, the 11th verse.
And thou shalt rejoice.
And thou shalt rejoice
In every good thing.
In every good thing.
Which Yahweh thy Elohim hath given unto thee.
Which Yahweh thy Elohim has given unto thee. You rejoice. You rejoice in your anniversaries. You rejoice on your birthdays. You rejoice when your children was born. You rejoice in every good thing Yah has given you. And you'll be happy. Because you learn how to count your blessings when you rejoice. But if you never know how to rejoice, you never know how to count your blessings. Because everybody that I know that know how to count their blessings, they rejoice. And the heathen, he rejoices every year when he has another year. Every New Year day, even though it's the wrong one, he rejoices in it. And the Jewish man, he going to try to outdo him and do twice as much as he do. So the Jewish man, he got 2 days that he has a new year in. He got a new year in the first month and a new year in the 7th month. And the 7th month is the one that he puts all the value to. So he said, we got 2 new years. And he said, I'm going to rejoice in this. But look what Yah has given Israel. He not only gave us 1 day a year to rejoice, or 2 days a year to rejoice. We rejoice every month. Every month we rejoice. That's how great we are. And then we even overdo that. We rejoice every week that we have a new Sabbath day. Every day we say Shabbat Shalom. We rejoice. And not only that, the ones that are wise in heart, every morning they wake up and look at the rising of the sun from the west. They rejoice. They rejoice. So we got a lot to rejoice in. We're just a rejoicing people, just a happy, rejoicing people. And true Israel got a lot to rejoice in, even in the land of our captivity, even in the land of our enemies. David said, though I walk through the valley of shadow of death, I'll fear no evil, for thou art with me. The Creator said, when you're in the mountains, I'll be there. There when you go to the heavens, he will be there. So he's there with us all the time. So we don't have to sit around the house and say, well, I'm not going to go to the meeting. I don't think it's that important to me. Anytime the Almighty allows you to breathe another ounce of breath, you should be able to rejoice in the good things that he has given you. And the new moon is a day to rejoice. So just that within itself is suffice for me to want to rejoice on every new moon. But that hadn't even touched the tip of the iceberg yet. Let's get back to Numbers, the 10th chapter. Even though that's enough for a wise-hearted man, that hadn't even touched the tip of the iceberg yet. The Creator not only tells us in the 10th chapter, the 10th verse, to rejoice on our solemn days in the blaze of gladness, and in the beginning of the months. A lot of people say, well, that's not telling me to keep the new moon. Well, if it's not, then you look at this commandment here. Go to the 3rd verse of the same chapter. It tells us in Numbers 10:3.
And when they shall blow with them.
Well, let's start at 1 and see. Let's start at 1 and get the whole significance.
And Yahweh spake unto Moshe, saying.
So who spoke to him?
Yahweh.
Not JC.
No.
not Pope Paul, not Bishop Blackfoot, but Yahweh spoke unto who? Moshe,
saying, verse 2, make thee 2 trumpets of silver.
I want you to make some trumpets. You understand? So you can rejoice with these trumpets. And I want to take these trumpets and make them what? Silver.
Of a whole piece shalt thou make them,
Make it of a whole piece,
that thou mayest use them
that you may use these trumpets, these silver trumpets,
for the calling of the assembly.
for the calling of the assemblies. That's what they made for.
And for the journeying of the camps.
And also when we get ready to journey, we call the assembly when we get ready to journey.
Verse 3, and when they shall blow with them,
And when they shall blow with these trumpets,
all the assembly shall assemble themselves to thee at the door of the tabernacle of the
that
congregation.
looks like a command to me. I don't know about you, but that looks like a law to me. When they shall blow with the trumpets, what should happen?
All the assembly
All of the assembly
shall assemble themselves
shall assemble themselves at the door of the tabernacle. Here Yahweh is calling out a solemn assembly. He's calling out a solemn meeting. He's calling out a reading of his word. We're supposed to meet at the door of the tabernacle until we have a temple. But keep reading.
Verse 4, and if they blow but with one trumpet,
When you blow with one trumpet,
then the princes, which are heads of the thousands of Israel,
so all these 12 priests, but I want the princes and the elders, I'm going to just have one of y'all blow with one trumpet. And when you blow with one trumpet, what is that for?
the princesses,
The princes,
which are heads of the thousands
which are head of the thousands.
of Israel,
That means I'm calling the meeting for you.
shall gather themselves unto thee.
That's right. You rest y'all stay in your tent. I didn't call you. That's just one trumpet. That's for the elders, the princes of the people.
Verse 5,
Over thousands to gather themselves.
verse 5, when ye blow an alarm,
When you blow an alarm,
then the camps that lie on the east parts shall go forward.
that's what happened. The camp that lying on the east forward, they should come forward then when you blow that alarm.
Verse 6, when ye blow an alarm the second time,
And the second,
then the camps that lie on the south side
and on the south side.
shall take their journey. They shall blow an alarm for their journeys. Verse 7, but when the congregation,
Now watch verse 7 and circle that.
but when the congregation
But when the congregation
is to be gathered together,
is to be gathered together,
ye shall blow,
ye shall blow.
but ye shall not sound an alarm.
Don't sound no alarm, because this is for the congregation to be gathered together.
Verse 8, and the sons of Aaron the priest
All right, so when we hear that trumpet blow, the people are to be gathered together. And you see where they were to gather themselves together at the door of the tabernacle. Now when you read this line by line and you get to verse 10, then you see that it says,
verse 10, also in the day of your gladness,
also in the day of your gladness,
and in your solemn days,
and in your solemn days,
and in the beginning
and in the beginning
of your months,
of your months.
ye shall blow with the trumpet.
You should blow with the trumpets. Now, when you blow with the trumpets, what the people to do? Get together, get off their lazy bed, turn off the basketball game, put down the weed, get out the boyfriend's bed, and come to class, because this is an assembly that Yahweh has ordained, and he has ordained it with a law. Then when we turn to the book of Psalms 81, Psalms 81. It says in verse 3,
Blow up the trumpet
blow up the trumpets.
in the new moon.
So what happened when they blow the trumpets in the new moons? We gathered ourselves together at the door of the tabernacle. That's the law you've been looking for. You said it wasn't no law. You said it wasn't no statute. Here the Creator says, again, read it in its total context.
Blow up the trumpet
Blow up the trumpets
in the new moon,
in the new moons,
in the time appointed,
in the time appointed. Now he's repeating everything that was in Numbers 10 and 10. In the time appointed.
on our solemn feast.
On your solemn feast days.
Verse 4. For this was a statute
This was a statute
for Israel,
for Israel
and a law,
and what?
and a law.
It said tradition, didn't it? Didn't say no tradition. That's a law. That means that when you beat that trumpet on your new moons, those that are not gathered together are breaking the law.
That's right.
You have to gather yourselves together. Now, there's two ways to study the scriptures. I have found one, through the words of the Most High, and two, through the actions and examples of his prophets. As long as the prophets are not doing or saying anything that is in conflict with the words of the Most High. And of course, I haven't seen where the prophets were ever in conflict with the Most High. They was right in tune. So we have a law. Now, how did our ancestors, how did the sons of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, what did they do, and how did they observe the new moon? Well, let's look at the examples. We find one such example in the book of Samuel. Go to 1 Samuel, the 20th chapter. Let's see how David observed the new moon. Since the Creator said that David was a man after his own heart, and David's heart was always perfect with him, it says, everybody have it? First Samuel 20th chapter, read the 4th and 5th verse.
Then said Jonathan unto David,
And then said Jonathan unto David,
Whatsoever thy soul desireth, I will even do it for thee.
I'll do it for you, anything your soul desire. Now David was afraid that Saul wanted to kill him at this time and at this period in history.
Verse 5. And David said unto Jonathan,
And David said unto Jonathan, Behold, tomorrow, and we already know tomorrow means the next day. Tomorrow does not implicate that evening. Tomorrow does not implicate that night. But tomorrow indicates the next morning. So he said, tomorrow
is the new moon, and I should not fail to sit with
I don't care what's up, I don't fail. I don't care if I got something to do, I don't fail to sit with the king at the meal if it's a new moon celebration. I'm not going to fail. I don't fail. Read that again.
And David said unto Jonathan,
Behold,
tomorrow is the new moon,
tomorrow is the new moon,
and I should not fail to sit with the king at meat.
and I will not fail to sit with the king at meat. other words, everybody's celebrating on the new moon. Well, the king has a big dinner. And by me being a close friend of Jonathan, and also the one that kings always have to play the little flute when the evil spirit come upon him, I got to always be near, and I will not fail to be with the king at new moon meal.
But let me go,
But let me know go.
that I may hide myself.
I'm trying to hide from a king because I know he want to do something mischievous to me. So let me go and hide myself
In the field
in the field
to the third day.
until the third day.
In verse 6, if thy father and all miss me,
If he miss me,
then say,
tell him
David earnestly asked leave of me.
he earnestly asked leave, asked me to ask leave. It was okay that he excused himself for this very important meal, the new moon celebration.
That he might run to
He
Bethlehem,
might run to Bethlehem,
his city, for there is a yearly sacrifice there for all the family.
in other words, he always try to go to Bethlehem because they had family reunion. And on family reunion day, he tries to be there. So he told me to ask you, can he excuse himself? So that's what David always did. And if David didn't fear for his life at that time, he would have been at the meal for new moon. So in that scripture, we understand that every new moon celebration, our people celebrated by having dinner with each other. The singles, the married people, all of them came and jigabooed together and laughed and talked and ate and conversated with each other. That was a time for them to conversate. And wasn't no restrictions and you got to do this, you can't do that, you can't do this work, because it was not a Sabbath. There's a difference between a Sabbath and a new moon. So we were loose. We didn't feel good. We didn't have enough food. We go out and buy some more food and we bring it in and eat and celebrate and talk and jive around with each other. Because this was a new moon celebration. This is how David kept the new moon celebration. But how did the beautiful Shunammite woman, how does she keep it? Let's go to the book of Kings. 2 Kings, the 4th chapter. Let's see how the Shunammite. Now let me tell you, this woman was a great woman. She seen a great prophet. Elijah always come. And every time he comes, she said, you don't have to go to no hotel to sleep outside. I'm going to make him a little room in my house. And that little room is going to be for the prophet. And every time he come into town, he can stay at my house and eat my food. Because I'm going to take care of him because he is the anointed of Yahweh.
That's right.
And so not only did she invite him into her home, she had a room built just for this prophet. But it so happened that one day her little son stopped breathing. And she was very greatly distressed with anxiety and tears and sorrow. And she told her husband to go and get the man of Elohim. Go fetch him. And let's read what happened starting at the 22nd verse. We can read verse 22 and 23.
And she called unto her husband,
She called to her husband
and said,
Send me,
I pray thee,
I pray,
one of the young men
get one of the young men
and one of the
and
asses,
get me one of the asses,
that I may run to the man of Elohim
that I may run to the man of Elohim.
and come again. Verse 23. And he said,
And the husband said unto her,
Wherefore wilt thou go to him today?
Why are you running to this man today?
It's neither new moon.
It's neither new moon
Nor Sabbath.
nor a Sabbath.
And she said, it shall be well.
It shall be well. Just do what I said. It's new moon nor the Sabbath. In other words, we find from the example of Shunammite that every Sabbath and every new moon, she had a man, an Elohim, a priest, a prophet there in their township to teach them about the Most High. And her husband was a little perplexed because he didn't understand why did she want him now. Since it wasn't a new moon or a Sabbath, why you got to hurry and fetch him? He'll be back on the Sabbath day. And we learned through that story that our people did what on a new moon day? They studied the scriptures. So we got two examples. They ate together, they celebrated together, and they studied scriptures on the new moon. But we didn't see any restrictions. As we go to the book of Amos, let's go to Amos. Chapter. Let's go to 8th chapter of Amos. And we're going to read about the wicked ones and what they did and what they devised in their hearts on that great new moon occasion. Because everybody was here that feared Yah and trembled at his word, they could make it. Brother Terry wasn't able to, Brother Tobias, he had to run home and see about his wife. She was sick that day. Thought that was very commendable. But he came all the way to class and left some lemonade just so the people here could have some vittles and something to drink. Then he ran back home to be with his beloved wife and to take care of her. What a beautiful example for the young children of Israel, the young sons to see. But everybody else was here, brother. The ones that's here, most of the time they was all here. Yeah. But we find in the book of Amos, the 8th chapter, we're going to read the 4th and the 5th verse. It says,
Hear this, O ye that swallow up the needy.
Hear this, you wicked people that swallow up the needy.
Even to make the poor of the land to fail.
Even to make the poor of the land to fail, not to increase, not to let them grow, not to try to teach them how to work computers, not to try to persuade them to get better education, not to persuade them to speak more languages, not to try to persuade them to learn the words of Yah and do what makes him glad. He satisfies y'all all the time, trying to do things to make y'all glad, but a few times a year it's clear that he wants to be glad, that he wants you to count your blessings. He don't see it. Y'all don't have time. I'm busy. See me on the Sabbath day. And you might not see me then if you make me too mad. Now let's see what these wicked people did.
Verse 5, saying, when will the new moon be come?
The wicked are saying, when will the new moon be over with?
That we may sell corn.
That we may sell corn. They out here partying and eating and studying, and we trying to make us some money. And they're not interested in buying yet. Not that they have a restriction, not that this day of new moon is a Sabbath, not that they have the restrictions, but these people are so in love with Elohim that they won't even come out and buy my corn and my wheat. Too busy partying and having a good time. The only holy day there's no restrictions. Only holy day you can just come and eat and talk and celebrate and rejoice with Yahweh. And you won't come. You won't come. You don't have time. Keep reading.
Saying, verse 5 again, when will the new moon be gone, that we may sell corn, and the Sabbath, that we may set forth wheat? Many that ephah small, and the shekel great, and also wine in their balances by deceit.
Isn't that beautiful? Isn't the Creator marvelous? Gave us a day that we had not been keeping. We see it in the scriptures, but we didn't pay no attention because he had not magnified his word until he did. But now, the ones that know Yahweh and know what he requires of us and that trembles at his word, we're going to meet here every new moon.
Yes, sir.
Now, if you got to go to work, we understand it. Great ain't gonna hold it against you. It's not a Sabbath day. You don't have to be here, but it would be very prudent for you to make it because it's a day that he blew the trumpet. It's a day that he established with a statute, and he made it a law for you to keep the new moon. Now, you can still work that day and keep the new moon. You don't have those restrictions. So I don't know why our place was not just running over. You see, our people didn't have the restrictions some of y'all work at night, and I do understand that. But see, in our land, the night was for sleeping.
Yes, sir.
And so we didn't have to worry about, I couldn't make it because I worked that night and whatnot, but we understand today. So those that can see fit in this, it was weighing on your heart, I just want you to know that Yah has prepared something very beautiful for us to come together and socialize and talk with each other and eat and study and discuss his word. That, matter of fact, everybody in here felt rejuvenated after they left because he had given us something else that we didn't have before. And you feel good when your father comes home and gives you a present. The bad thing is when you take the present that he gave you and throw it down on the ground and say, I don't want this. I don't know why you took time to tell me about this. If I don't just have to be there, then I'm not. Well, you really have to be there. I want you to look again, don't have to turn that, but Psalms 81, 3 and 4 says it's a statute for Israel and a law. Then when you hear that bugle blow, then you got it. You don't have to stay all day and all night. Just try to stop by. But do it. Do it. Because if I didn't teach you, I would not teach you this. I would not feel good about myself because I know I'm not teaching you the whole word. Now this is the whole word. And you got to eat it. You might ask yourself, when is the new moon? There are a lot of brethren that keep the new moon. They don't keep it, but they say the new moon is when it's dark outside. Now where did they get that from? They got it from White. They heard White say the new moon, you won't see no moon. But let me let you know how the scriptures itself totally refute that. Let me let you examine some verses. Let's go to Isaiah. And as you go to Isaiah, the 60th chapter, be conscious of the fact that wisdom is the principal thing. Therefore get ye wisdom, but with all you're getting, get understanding. Get understanding. This is wisdom. Is the principal thing. A lot of people for years, I didn't even have a concordance. For For years I didn't have a dictionary. You know how long it took me to learn the Bible? Never told y'all this. About 3 weeks. And I'm trying to be conservative with you. It probably wasn't that long. 3 weeks. You took a little heat, joker out of the street, and it turned them into something that every preacher in Cincinnati was running from.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Was running from, because I knew the book. Can quote it all over. Because when I read it, the Almighty gave me the ability to retain it. It was there. Just that whole thing. Because I loved it. And anytime you love something, you don't forget it.
That's right.
You remember it. Let's go to Psalms, Isaiah, should I say, 60th chapter. Let's see what the 23rd verse is telling us about new moon. It says,
What chapter?
60th chapter of Isaiah, and there is Isaiah 60.
There's no 29 and 23.
66, 23rd verse.
66, excuse me.
That's 23. All right.
Y'all like that. I see the smiles on your faces. Y'all like when the moray makes a little, I mean, some, I know you don't, sister. I'm looking at the faces, just the smile that's all over their faces. 66. Read now before we go there, please, let's go to Isaiah 13. Let's go there first. Let's go there first, please. Everybody have it? You have it now, don't you? Just look at these little verses. Read the 10th verse.
For the stars of heaven, Isaiah 13 chapter, 10th verse. For the stars of heaven and the constellations thereof shall not give their light.
Speaking of the day of Yahweh, the stars of heaven and the constellations thereof shall not give her light.
The sun shall be darkened.
The sun shall be darkened.
And is going forth.
And it's going forth.
And the moon.
And the moon
shall not cause her light to shine.
Shall not cause her light to shine. Now wait, I can say, hey, this is the day of Yahweh. We got to run. We got to run and find some place to hide. Yahweh is coming. And say, how do you know, Elesha? Look, the moon hasn't caused his light to shine. See, every month, there's a period of darkness.
That's right.
That's not the moon. The new moon means lunation. The moon has to shine. If the moon don't have a light, that means you don't have a moon. That's not a moon. You can't regard the day of darkness when you don't see no moon as the first day of the new moon. The word new in Hebrew means to rebuild, to be refreshed. You can't have a new moon and you don't see nothing because there's nothing to build. You must see a rebuilding of that moon. That's reading it lets us know on the day of Yahweh, and the day of his wrath, and the day of his vengeance, the moon will not cause the light to shine on that day. Also look at the book of Isaiah 60. 60. According to Isaiah 60, chapter, the 19th verse,
Isaiah chapter 60, verse 19. The sun shall be no more thy lights by day.
The sun shall no more be thy light by day,
neither for brightness
neither for brightness.
Should the moon give light unto thee?
Should the moon give light to thee? In other words, the moon is supposed to give light for brightness. But right here, they're trying to say a new moon is when it's no light. And all of these scriptures are saying that's insane. Just like one last thing, I can go all over the scriptures, the book of Joel, the 2nd chapter of Joel. Let's go to Joel, the 2nd chapter. Do you understand what I'm trying to show you? They're trying to say for 2 days, you have the moon. The first couple of days of the new moon, you don't see nothing at all. If you don't see nothing at all, why would Yahweh tell us to look for the new moon? He said he created 2 lights. The greater light to rule the day and the lesser light to rule the night. If that's not a light, that's not a moon. That's part of a month. As I told you and I will prove you, there's 30 days in every month. But there's not 30 days in every moon. So we're always going to have a 30-day month, which I will prove. According to Joel, the 2nd chapter, the 10th verse, it says,
The earth shall quake before him.
Talking about Yahweh's day of wrath.
The heavens shall tremble.
The heavens shall tremble.
The sun and the moon shall be dark.
The sun and the moon shall be dark. Hello? That's in the day of Yahweh's wrath. Somebody can say, well, it must be the day of Yahweh's wrath now because the moon is already dark. No, the moon is not dark. If you don't see that, that means it's no moon. Then while you're in the book of Job, just look at the 3rd chapter, the 15th verse.
The sun and the moon shall be darkened, and the stars shall withdraw their shining.
All right. Sun and moon shall be darkened. Still dealing with that day. I'm just letting you know that according to the words of Yah, you must see something. The last verse I'll deal with that is Deuteronomy 16:1. According to the book of Deuteronomy 16:1, it says,
Observe the month of Abib.
Observe the moon of Abib.
And keep the Passover unto
And keep the Passover. Observe the moon of Abib and keep the Passover.
This is a month.
So you see, that was a very great, significant thing. Our people rejoice so much in the celebration of the new moon that in the future, those were the only days that our sanctuary would be open. So right now you got it open because study and learn things over the course of the week. But in the future, when you get back home, the sanctuary will only be open for 2 occasions. And all flesh must come to worship Yah. Now when you look at Isaiah, the 66th chapter, start reading in verse 23.
Isaiah chapter 66, verse 23. And it shall come to pass that from one new moon to another, and from one Sabbath to another, shall all flesh come to worship before me, saith Yahweh.
Say that again.
And And it shall come to pass
it shall come to pass
that from one new moon
to one new moon
to another,
to another,
and from one Sabbath
and one Sabbath
to another,
to another,
shall all flesh
come to worship
before me.
So it's very important that all flesh come and worship Yah every new moon and every Sabbath. That's just our people. If you're Israel, this is how we do it.
That's right.
Now the rest of the world don't do it like this now, because they don't have our understanding. They don't have our wisdom. The light hadn't shone on them. They have not yet seen the significance of this. They have to wait until the Creator created this tabernacle on earth and make them do it for them to see it. But you shouldn't have to wait for the Almighty to make you, because His law should be suffice.
That's right.
Yes, sir.
His law. No, we're not going to expel you. We're not going to suspend you. We're not going to put you out. We're not going to make a mockery of you. We just want to make sure that you know. And if you think this is not significant, then raise your hand. If you think this is not a law, then let's discuss it. Then we go to the book of Ezekiel, the 46th chapter. This is again when the Creator got this tabernacle on earth set up. Here's what the Creator says when He set up His kingdom on this earth. Ezekiel 46. It says in the first verse,
Thus saith Yahweh Elohim, the gate of the inner court that looketh towards the east shall be shut the 6 working days.
it shall be shut the 6 working days.
But on the Sabbath
On the Sabbath,
it shall be open.
it shall be open. Why? Because it's very significant. Why do y'all want the doors of the tabernacle open on a Sabbath day? So roaches and rats can go in there? Huh? Or just to let some fresh air go in there and give a breath of fresh air to the place. You think that's what it was for? Keep reading.
And in the day of the new moon,
And in the day of the new moon, Yah's sanctuary, the doors were open. And they were not open for the mosquitoes to come in. It was not open to just air out the place. It was open for the souls and saints of Yahweh to march through them to pay Him glory. And once I look at this and study this, it's the most beautiful holy day we have. It is the only holy day that we don't have any restrictions. Nobody can really give a good reason why they can't keep it and why they shouldn't keep it. Because if it's a cause of problem, because you're working, we just have to open it up earlier. That's all. I'll leave it open there later, but this is a day that Yahweh wants His doors open. See, us having it open and studying, learn computer and practicing choir and self-defense classes, that's something we made up. That's something we want to do. But it's not the law. It's not nothing that pleased Yahweh to the extent that He carved it in stone. This is carved in stone. This is a statue. It's all carved in stone.
Absolutely.
One last thing I want to show you about the new moon, and that is that Yah, as I have told you, is a man of structure.
Yes.
So let's go to Numbers 28. Numbers 28. And what have it? Let's start reading verse 1.
And Yahweh spake unto Moshe, saying,
He spake unto Moshe, saying,
Command the children of Israel, and say unto them, My offering and my bread for my sacrifices made by fire, for the sweets of war unto me, shall ye observe to offer unto me in their due season. Verse 3. And thou shalt say unto them,
now notice what it says too. This is Yahweh speaking to Moshe saying, command the children of Israel, and say, he's talking about you now, and say unto them, my offering and my bread for my sacrifices made for fire, for a sweet savor unto me, and ye shall observe to offer unto me in their due season. Now what's the seasons of Yah? What is the season? The first season, before there can be any day, before there can be a year, before there can be a month, before there can be a Sabbath, it must be a day. That's how you know there's no type of floating Sabbath days where it changed. Because everything did not start on the 7th day of the week. Everything did not start on the 4th day of the week when the moon was made. Everything started in Genesis 1 when the Creator created the heaven and the earth. That's when it started. And the first thing he made was day. It says in Genesis 1 and 5, and Yahweh said, let there be light. And there was light. And Elohim saw that the light was good. So Elohim divided the light from the darkness, and the light he called day, and the darkness he called night. Period. And that's when he says, I want you to celebrate and observe to offer everything in its due season. The third verse says, and thou shalt say unto them, this is the offering made by fire which ye shall offer 2 lambs in the first year without spot. What? Day by day. So days start first. The first celebration in that season, before there can be a season, you have to have a day. Before it can be a month, it has to be a day. Before there's a year, there's a day. Before there's a Sabbath. So the first thing is day by day. Day comes first. And what comes after day? It tells us in the 4th verse, the one lamb shall I offer in the morning, and the other lamb shall I offer at evening. Why? He said do it day by day. 2 lambs day by day. We have to have 2 day lambs in the process of a day. One in the morning and one in the evening. None in the night, because the night is not part of a day. The day starts in the morning and it ends in the evening. When the evening is over, the day is over. When the morning starts, the day starts. This is what constitutes a day. A day does not start when it gets dark at night, as we have been taught. Yah said in the book, we hold this page and go to the book of Psalms, 50th chapter. Psalms 50th division. It says in Psalm 50 division, the first verse, it says,
the mighty Elohim.
The what? Didn't say the 65. Didn't say the trembling. The mighty Elohim.
Even Yahweh.
Even Yahweh
has spoken.
He has spoken.
And called the earth.
And called the earth.
From the rising
of the sun.
Unto the going down.
And to the going down. In other words, all of his created work. He called the earth into existence from the rising of the sun and to the going down of the sun. So it was 7 created days. He didn't work at night. From the rising of the sun until the going down, it says,
the mighty Elohim, even Yahweh has spoken, and called the earth from the rising of the sun unto the going down thereof.
until the going down thereof. Then we look in Psalms 113. I believe I'm taking the right place. Psalms 113. It says in verse 3,
From the rising of the sun
from the rising of the sun
unto the going down
into the going down
of the same.
of that same sun,
Yahweh's name
Yahweh's name.
is to be praised.
When we can praise His name from the rising of the sun until the going down. It never instructed us to praise Him all night long, because if we praise Him all night long, then we can sleep. We'll be breaking the law every day. Only way we can keep the law is stay woke 24 hours. So why don't you sleep? At least when the law said praise God all night long. But when you gonna sleep, I'm not worried about sleep. It said praise Him all day from the evening to the morning. It didn't say that. It says from the rising of the sun until the going down of the same is what?
Yahweh's name
Yahweh's name
is to be praised.
is to be praised. Then